Today I'm going to be breaking down the long-anticipated Season 7 premiere of Rick and Morty. We have a lot of things to talk about today, including voice actor changes for both Rick, Morty, and Mr. Poopy Butthole, along with a name reveal for Mr. Poopy, as well as some Easter eggs. Finally, along with these exciting revelations, I'm going to be giving my general thoughts on the episode. But first, if you guys enjoy videos like these, consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so you can get notified as these videos release. Now, let's get into the video. This episode has been long awaited by fans, as it's the first episode of the series to no longer have characters voiced by series co-creator Justin Roiland. Justin originally played both Rick and Morty along with Mr. Poopy Butthole, along with various other characters such as Mr. Meeseeks. Now, going into this season, a lot of fans were curious who would be voicing the characters, and now we have Ian Cardoni playing Rick Sanchez and Harry Belden playing Morty Smith. Now, according to a report from Leslie Goldberg from The Hollywood Reporter, the goal was to make this episode as seamless as possible, and I feel like you can see that hidden within the episode. To give a slight plot spoiler, we get a lot more Rick than Morty in this episode, as Morty is quickly written out to make it a more Rick-centric episode. We didn't get to hear much from Morty this episode, and from what I've heard, I'm not completely sold on his voice yet, but I can say Ian Cardoni's Rick Sanchez is pretty good, especially when he's just having normal conversations with his friends and family. However, I don't think he's nailed Rick's zaniness or high-pitched voice yet. Needless to say though, it's the first episode of Season 7, so there's plenty of time to see how this changes, especially as time goes on and Ian really brings Rick into his own. In terms of the story, the voice changes actually play pretty well into the continuity of the show, as Rick has become more down to earth and is as close of a family man as he could possibly be. And with Morty getting older, it would only be natural for his voice to start changing. So now it's finally time to get into the episode and break down the details along the way. The episode starts off with the Smith family having one of their typical family breakfasts, and they start talking about how Mr. Poopy Butthole has been staying with them and they want him to leave. Shortly after, we find out that Mr. Poopy's wife left him and he is going through a tough time. You can see in the background of this cold opening that a lot of attention to detail was placed in the background of the Smith's living room, which Mr. Poopy is staying in. In the background, you can see a vase with vomit seeping out of it, along with Mr. Poopy's area being littered with alcohol and pizza boxes. But you can also see a book in the corner of the screen that says Custody for Dummies, showing us that he is in a legal battle with his wife for Poopy Jr., which is some foreshadowing for the episode. After this, we cut to Rick, who is obsessing over Rick Prime, who we all know is responsible for killing his family from his original universe. Morty tells Rick that the family wants him to deal with Mr. Poopy, and he agrees, eventually leading to him deciding to grab his old friends and take Mr. Poopy for a night out and to have an intervention. After Rick recruits his friends, Bird Person, Gear Man, Squanch, and Gene the neighbor, they take Mr. Poopy to a bar called FU's, which is a play on real-life restaurants where the theme is to have the staff be rude to you. Once they arrive, a waiter trash talks the group but really goes in on Mr. Poopy.
Look at this depressed pencil eraser. Did some middle schooler stick you up a cat's asshole? I bet you had everything, and you watched it slip through your powerless little fingers like the sands of time. Be right back to take your order, folks.
The group then goes off to do some partying before ending up at a rave, where honey is poured out of sprinklers, which may have been a nod to the blood rave scene from the movie Blade. Now, things go off the rails after the honey rave scene, because shortly after, Rick and the gang come across Hugh Jackman, who is voiced by none other than the real-life Hugh Jackman. It turns out, in this universe, Hugh Jackman is related to Rick's friend Gene. After the group gets acquainted, Hugh Jackman says that he needs to go take a huge Ackman, which he claims is a slur for taking a crap. However, there isn't anything about that if you actually look it up. The group then goes to Hugh Jackman's party lounge, where Mr. Poopy ends up having a heart-to-heart with Hugh. Mr. Poopy confesses that he wants to be with his ex-wife Amy, and a drunken Hugh Jackman convinces everyone but Rick to help Mr. Poopy. A really funny scene follows where Hugh is asked by Mr. Poopy if Wolverine hurts a little, and everyone in sync says every time.
I love where you are, man. You're just Wolverining right now. You feel that?
I think so. Does Wolverining hurt a little?
Every time.
This is actually a reference to when the character Rogue asked him the same question in the first X-Men movie.
When they come out, does it hurt?
Every time.
Rick ends up leaving after being called out for being a fake friend before deciding to rejoin the group. What follows is Hugh Jackman performing a song and dance for Amy to help Mr. Poopy, but it's revealed that Amy has been sleeping with the predator Mr. Poopy hired all along. Mr. Poopy then steals Poopy Jr., which forces everybody to flee from the predator. Rick, thinking on his feet, tells everyone to cover themselves in mud to hide from the predator, like Arnold Schwarzenegger's character in the first Predator movie. Mr. Poopy ends up revealing his location in a hilarious scene where he opens a beer, leading to him having to fight the predator after he has defeated everyone else. Mr. Poopy during this fight references season 4 episode 3, which if you don't remember was the heist episode, which revealed Mr. Poopy can now fight after he takes down his entire college classroom. This doesn't amount to anything though, as Poopy gets manhandled during the fight before it's interrupted by his wife, and we finally get the reveal that Mr. Poopy's name is actually Wayne. Wayne reveals that he likes the name Mr. Poopy because it's more refined, but I'm going to refer to him as Wayne for the rest of the video. Surprisingly though, it's revealed that the Predator, Poopy Jr., and Amy are a happy family, which was the right thing Wayne needed to see to motivate him to get his life back together. Wayne ends up leaving peacefully as the night settles to the group doing a Breakfast Club style parody ending where everyone goes off to continue having crappy lives, and I just found that hilarious. Just something about the way how Rick over-explains the fading pills and just how it ends with Mr. Poopy in pain really got a good laugh out of me, admittedly.
I got a lot of work to do, but I'll land on my poopy little feet. I always do. Oh! This burns like hell! How did the other guys not react? Is mine different? It's like my skin is boiling!
Now, it's a little early to tell, but it seems like the theme for this season may be Rick being more open with his friends and family and fixing the bonds with the people he has had falling outs with. That may be part of why he wanted all of his friends there for Wayne's intervention, because he didn't want it all to fall on him and lose a friend. It also could tie into a theme that Rick's ties to his friends and family is what makes him the Rickest Rick. Or I could just be looking too much into things. I know that more than likely a lot of fans are really disappointed by the fact this episode has nothing to do with Rick Prime, but I think that's kind of the point. It seems like they really want to break up the lore episodes of the series, and especially with how people binge series nowadays, they want to break up the episodes into the future so that it's not just Rick Prime episodes back to back. I will say, at times though, it felt like the episode was just really about nothing. It also writes off some lore that we never got to see explained, such as Bird Person revealing that he got his daughter back from the prison we saw her held in, but we never get to see any of those events. The general consensus I've seen from fans is that they seem to either be neutral or dislike this episode, but I want to know what you guys thought of the Season 7 premiere of Rick and Morty. I'm really curious if you guys noticed the voice changes, or if you simply found the episode funny or disappointing. And of course, finally, if you liked the video, please consider giving it a like, or even subscribing and hitting the notification bell so you can keep up with my videos as they release. And with all that said, please consider joining our Discord as well, or checking out any of my social medias down below. You guys take care, have a good one.